Hi everybody, we're going to move to our next lesson now, which is Westward Expansion and the Native Americans. That lesson is a little bit hard, and so this is a short chance to get some information and some vocabulary which will prepare you to listen to the video that's coming. At the time that the United States became a country, there was an important question in everybody's minds. This question was, how should the United States government treat the Native Americans? Some people said that the Native Americans were different nations. The leaders of the United States should talk to the leaders of the Native American nations and make treaties with them. So you can see in this picture there's some European people, there's some Native people, and they're both signing something. I think they've negotiated an agreement, and this is like two different nations talking to each other. On the other hand, some people said that the Native Americans were part of the United States. So they should have the rights and the responsibilities of citizens, and the laws of the United States applied to them. So this is a different way of looking at the Native Americans, and some people thought that this was the best way to deal with the situation. Next, some people believed that black and brown people shouldn't have the same rights as white people. They thought that the Native Americans were part of the United States, but they shouldn't have the rights of citizens. And some people just wish the Native Americans didn't exist. They hoped that all the Native Americans would move far away or even die. So when you finish this slideshow, you are going to watch a video. And that video tells the story of what happened when European Americans and Native Americans wanted the same land, the land in the southeast of the United States. Now, this is the area that we're talking about, and if you look closely, you can see some dotted lines over here. These are the lines that divide the modern-day states. So this is the land that, for example, was Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. Some of these other states are places like Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, and Florida. So in the South, there were Native American people living here, and the Europeans who started living next to the oceans started to move to the west and came into contact with these people, and they had to decide what to do. I have 5 important vocabulary words that will help you understand the next video that's coming. The first word is settlers. This is a noun, and it means people who move to a new land, especially empty land. So they build new homes and create a new community. So the first people to move to a land when that's empty, they're called settlers. There's a couple of examples here. For example, every year more settlers came from Europe to America. Or if you want to look at another example, sometimes the Native Americans were friendly to the settlers. Other times they were not. So that's the word settlers. In the video, when you hear the word settlers, that's referring to the European people. Another really important word is adapt. This is a verb, and it means to change yourself or to change your actions because something in your life has changed. For example, I can say, when my daughter was born, I had to adapt to a life with less sleep. And a lot of you can relate to that. Or, for example, when I moved to Modesto, it was not easy for me to adapt to the hot weather. Maybe you had to wear different clothes, or maybe your body just had to get used to the heat. So to make that change in yourself, to adapt to the weather, it's kind of like making a change, getting used to something. The next word I want to talk about is protest. Protest is a verb. It means to say that you disagree with something, or to show that you disagree through your actions. So you can see there's a mother and a son here. The example is, when I told Leo it was time for bed, he protested loudly. And you can see him in this picture, protesting. Here's another example. If you don't like the U.S. immigration policies, you can protest. So that's protest. The next word I want you to know is stockade. This is not a word that's really common in everyday life, but if you lived in the United States in the 1700s, you will probably see some structures like this. A stockade is like a place. It's a structure with a high fence around the outside, and it can be used as a fort to protect yourself or as a prison to keep people inside. One example might be that the soldiers built a stockade in order to protect themselves. Or, on the other hand, you can see here the army kept its prisoners inside a stockade and guarded it at all times. So the people inside these walls are prisoners. You can see soldiers on the top. They have guns, and they're trying to control, the people who are inside. So this wall, which usually has like four sides, that's a stockade. The last word that you need to know is journey. A journey is just a long trip. So you can see this young man is looking pretty tired. He's just getting off a plane. Maybe we could say the journey from China to the US took 3 planes and more than 24 hours. At the end, I was very tired. So at the end of a journey, usually you're very tired, you might be hungry or a little bit weak. That's a journey. You could also say, before you go on a journey, you should prepare some food to take with you. If not, you will get hungry. So, yeah, a journey might take a whole day. It might take several days. So, usually people take food with them on a journey. Those are the 5 words you need to remember. So, I think you should pause the video and try to remember the 5 words we talked about. When you've said them to yourselves, restart the video. Are you ready? Number 1 is protest, 2, stockade, 3, adapt, 4, journey, and 5, settlers. That's it for this video. You are ready to watch the video about Western expansion and the Native Americans. Please continue to the next activity.